back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in. If you haven't already, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Now, the brother you're seeing here is Sabir Bey. He's a known educator in the community. And today's video, I will be reacting to another brother by the name of Chief X reacting to Sabir Bey educating, or should we say miseducating, while he's away on vacation. The Moorish chief. That is what this whole thing is about. Who is this Moorish chief? I once had a colleague of mine tell me that this picture is a Moor. And that's how he knows he's a Moor, because this Moor looks just like him and the rest of the African Americans running around in America. He thought this picture was a Moor from medieval times. Little did he know he was wrong. Now let's get into Chief X and Sabir Bey.
What up, fam? It's Chief X, the God best reincarnated, with some more common sense, science, reality, and truth. You see the name above, Sabir Bey, on here lying to people again, miseducating the public on purpose, not an accident. This is on purpose.
Whoa, Chief X. Now, these are some strong allegations, brother. I hope you can back that up, because these are some very strong allegations. You just said this brother Sabir Bey is miseducating on purpose. It's hard for me to believe that Sabir Bey is out here miseducating on purpose, because he is for uplifting fallen humanity. So you better back up your claim, Chief X. You better back it up.
He's been doing this forever. I've called him on it. I've asked him and even wanted to pay him to come on his live stream, but he won't allow it because he don't want to be proved wrong in front of his followers. I just want you to see how Sabir Bey lies intentionally to people in America and in Spain. He's over here on a little vacation.
Okay, so Chief X, you're telling me this brother Sabir Bey is out here miseducating and he's lying to people on purpose. Chief X, you better back that up.
Whatever he's doing in Spain, and I want to show you a video clip of how he just blatantly lies to this French African brother while he's in Spain and tries to tell him that this guy was a Moor in Spain in the years of 700 to 1400. Remember, I said 700 to 1400.
You see what I'm saying? So once they got in by infiltration,
Yes.
then that was the weakest.
Yes.
That was the weakest Alhambra. Yes. A lot of people don't know that, but you ever see the Moorish chief? You got your phone? Yes. Look it up.
The Moorish chief. The Moorish chief, remember. That's what we're looking for, the Moorish chief.
I'm going to show you the Moorish chief.
Yes.
It was inside the Alhambra. Just go Google the Moorish chief.
He's asking, has he seen the Moorish chief, which is a picture, or a painting, excuse me, a famous painting that's in the Philadelphia Museum. But Sabir Bey and all the Moors always lie and act like it's a Moor at that time. There's even books written by some wrong scholars with this picture on the book cover, just misleading people.
What's his name? Just punch in Moorish chief.
The guy asked him what's his name. He said, oh, he just said, just punch in Moorish chief. He can't tell him his name.
Moorish chief. M-O-O-R. Chief. Like separated chief. There you go, right there. Now click that. I want you to see the photo. Now go to the photos.
Now, before we continue, we don't see Sabir Bey in the video. But if you're a follower of his, you know it's him because of his voice. So I just wanted to put that out there.
You see that?
Don't go to the scholarship. Go to the picture, because you know niggas is picture prone. They see a picture and get all thrown off, but they never give you the art history of a picture. If someone's showing you a picture or a meme, ask them where is the source, where is the art history of it. Most pictures have an explanation of what they are.
He looks like you. That was done in the Alhambra back then.
He just said that was done in the Alhambra back then. He's referring to between the times of Moors, which were Arab and Berbers, not West Africans, not Sub-Saharan Africans. They were Arabs and Berbers. So he said this is him in the Alhambra back then. Neither one of those two statements are true.
Now, Chief X, I did hear him say that. I did hear Sabir Bey said that was done in the Alhambra back then. So what's wrong with that? What's wrong with him saying that that was done in the Alhambra back then?
Oh shit! Yeah, it was yeah, yeah, inside that mosque, inside the Alhambra. Oh, right in there.
You heard him, inside the Alhambra.
Yes, I did hear him. He did say inside the Alhambra, and then he went and pointed to the Alhambra, because that's where he's at in Spain.
Most people don't even know about that. He has actually a fez on his head.
And told the man he got a fez on his head, which he doesn't. It's a turban.
Whoa, 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 Sabir. Whoa. I just heard you tell this man that the person in that picture has a fez on his head. Now, I saw this picture. That is no fez on that man's head, brother. So now I'm starting to see what Chief X is talking about. Because that there's already 2 points so far that I see you are giving misinformation, false information. Now, you claim to be a historian and a researcher. So, if you are one with these titles that you claim, then you know that guy, that Moorish chief in that picture does not have on a fez. You know that. So it's looking real shaky for you right now, brother. I'm not even going to lie. It is looking real shaky. You just told this man that man in that picture, that Moorish chief, has a fez on his head, and he clearly does not.
Sabir Bey is so disingenuous and fraudulent.
Oh, it's a famous painting in Philadelphia Art Museum. One of the most famous paintings in Philadelphia Art Museum.
Now, he knows it's in the Philadelphia Art Museum, but he won't give him the real story. He wants this man to walk away thinking that's how the Moors looked between 700 and 1400, those are the people who conquered Spain. That's what he wants this man to believe. That's wicked behavior.
I would keep like, yeah, look it up. Yeah, I'm telling you, look it up, brother. What's your name again? Bussy? Yeah, Sabir. Sabir Bey. Yes, sir.
Okay. So like I said, you don't see him in this video. I haven't seen him so far. But he clearly just said his name was Sabir. So we know this is Sabir Bey. We know this is the traveling Moor Sabir Bey. Wow.
No doubt. That's what you do. You teach and you build.
Hold on, brother. You just said that's what you do. You teach and you move on. But what I just seen so far, you just told this nigga two totally incorrect statements. First one, you said that the painting was done in the Alhambra back then. Second, you told him that the man in the picture, the Moorish chief, has a fez on his head, which he doesn't. And then you walk away saying, yeah, that's what you do, that's what we do, we teach and move on. Brother, whoa, I can't believe this. The traveling Moor Sabir Bey is out here miseducating people for real. So if he's going to miseducate people on something this minor, imagine what else he's miseducating people on. Is this brother to be trusted? Are we to still be his students? I respect Sabir Bey. But seeing this, wow.
Teaching you build. You see how that works? He's from France.
He said, you teach and you build. Yeah, he's trying to miseducate on purpose, like he always does. So let's go over here and see the real history of this picture. This picture today is titled The Moorish Chief. It wasn't when it was painted. Guess when it was painted? Guess when it was? 1878.
Oh no. Sabir Bey, the traveling Moor. 1878? You told the man that the painting was painted in the Alhambra back then. Sabir, you are a teacher. You are out here teaching people false information. Now, let's look at this picture. That is not a fez on this man's head. Sabir, what are you out here doing? What are you out here doing, brother? This is very disappointing. Very, very, very disappointing.
They call it the Moorish Chief now in the Philadelphia Museum. 1878, that's damn near 1900. That is 400 whole years later from the Arabs and Berbers conquering Spain. 400 years later, meaning it's not in the Alhambra.
G-Facts, you really sound like you're pissed off. This is hilarious. Sabir Bey, this brother has caught you. He has caught you out here lying. I'm sorry. I was going to wait to the end of the video to give my opinion, but I can't even wait that long. Sabir Bey, the traveling Moor, the traveling philosopher Moor, as you call yourself. Chief X has caught you out here lying to the people.
And it wasn't a Moorish chief. The artist is Edward Claremont from Austria. He's an Austrian. It's an oil painting. The Moorish chief. This is the art history of it. Source. Looking down at us, a tall man in white robe standing in the doorway of an impressive palace. People have marveled at this painting's detailed and speculated about its subject for over 100 years, but no one knows for sure who the man is because this is not a portrait. The artist used a costumed model.
Wow. So this man in the picture is actually a model. He is not a Moor from back then, as you stated. Sabir, what on earth are you doing? Sabir Bey, you cannot possibly think that you're out here uplifting fallen humanity when you're lying about history. What else are you lying about, brother? What else are you lying about?
It's a model. A model in costume standing in a Moorish palace. It's not the Alhambra.
Wow. So not only is this man in the picture a model, but it wasn't even painted in the Alhambra back then, as you said. Sabir, this is not looking good for you, brother. This is not looking good for you.
The painting is filled with many realistic details. Look at the man's clothing. He is dressed in the kind of hooded cloak, sometimes called a burnous, and typically worn by Arabs and Moors. Arabs and Moors, it says. A Moor is any Muslim in Northwest Africa between that time period. Mainly Berbers and Arabs. On his head, a headdress. They call it a kafiyeh. It's not a fez like some.
Oh no, Sabir, I heard you. You said that man in that picture, that Moor chief, had on a fez, but he in fact does not. He have on a Kafian headdress. Wow, Sabir. So you really are out here miseducated. A Kafian. I mean, it's clear that it wasn't a fez. But now we actually know the name of the headdress. It's a Kafian. Why would you tell that man that this man in this picture, this Moorish chief, has on a fez when you know that wasn't a fez? Brother, you wear fezes. So how could you mistake a kafir for a fez? And you wear fezes. Wow, Sabir. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Sabir lied to him about. And Sabir knows that's not a fez. It's a headdress that almost completely covers a crimson cap underneath. Okay, it's just talking about the history, but let's go down and see what it talks about. The background of this painting is based. Can y'all see that? The background of this painting is based on the Alhambra, a famous fortress overlooking the city Granada, Spain. The Alhambra.
Okay, so it's based on the Alhambra. It's not actually in the Alhambra, like you said. Because I heard you. You said that this picture was painted in the Alhambra back then. Wow. Sabir, what are you out here doing? What are you out here doing? You can't possibly think that you're uplifting fallen humanity, miseducating people.
Was built during the 13th and 14th centuries by Moors, Arabs and Berbers. Now, Arabs did have African slaves, or sub-Saharan African and West African slaves. Okay? They weren't the chief of anything. They were the servant. By Moors. Muslims. Okay, look. It just corroborates what I said, actually. The Alhambra was built during the 13th and 14th century by Moors. Muslims from northwestern Africa, who ruled large portions of Spain from 700 to 1400. Okay, just like I said, West Africans, sub-Saharan Africans never ruled or conquered Spain. That was what the Arabs did. That's Arab history, Arab and Berber history. Although Spain is part of the European continent, it is located just across the Straits of Gibraltar from North Africa. I always tell people you can swim from Morocco to Spain. The painting probably gets its current title, The Moorish Chief, from the Moorish architecture in the background. But when it was first exhibited in 1878, it was called The Guardian of Saragossa.
Wow. The Guardian of Saragossa. Which means that brother in the picture was probably, in fact, supposed to be a guard. And if you know anything about the history of Spain and Morocco, you know that the guards of a caliphate or an empire were typically slaves. Wali Ismail from Morocco, he had a big guard of slaves, African slaves. So the brother in this painting, before they changed the name, was more than likely supposed to be depicting a slave who was a guard.
Saragossa. Pronounce it Seraglio. Gotta roll the tongue, excuse me. Seraglio. That's the original name of the painting. The Guardian of Seraglio is the name for the special quarters. That's what the original name was, the Guardian of Seraglio. It is a name for the special quarters in a Muslim residence where the women of the household were sheltered from strangers, being protected by strangers. So the title identified the man as a guard of the women in the palace.
Meaning he probably was a slave.
Servant. A guard. He's not a chief. He's not running nothing. He's a servant. Arabs and Berbers enslaved West Africans and Sub-Saharan Africans, and they were servants, and they were Islamized. They weren't anybody special. So the title identified the man as a guard of the woman in the palace. He's working. But it's a painting in just his imagination, though. But this is what's his imagination. He painted a black man guarding women. doing his job as a servant. However, after being purchased by Philadelphia collector John G. Johnson in 1890.
Let me just interject. Chief X, you are really breaking it down. Chief X, you are really exposing this man for miseducating people.
To the painting listed as the Alhambra Guard was another name. When he bought it, the painting was listed as the Alhambra Guard. He's a servant. This title makes sense since the palace in the background resembles the Alhambra. It's not the Alhambra. He just painted what looked like the Alhambra with Moorish artwork. Finally, the painting came to Philadelphia Museum of Art. People began calling it Moorish Chief. People later just called it the Moorish Chief. So as you find that these different so they called it the Moorish Chief because it had Moorish artwork in the background. Not because of any kind of ethnicity reasons. It was just an imagination. That's what he used in his imagination, this painting. Okay? The artist, Edward Charlemont, made the figure, and the setting looked so true to life. So that was it. And in the video, he also calls the Moorish chief Charlemont. But that's the name of Edward Claremont, Charlemont.
Wow. Chief X, you are really exposing this brother for not educating people the correct way. This is deep. He's been in this community for a long time. So I wonder, what else is he miseducating on? What else is he misforming people on?
Was born in 1848 in Vienna, the capital of Austria. His father was a professional artist who painted miniature portraits. It just goes on to tell you how he uses his imagination from different books he read and things he's seen. And at that time, he was sure, because it's the fact, that any black in Spain more than likely was a servant or slave to the real Moors, who were Arabs and Berbers. Chief X, I'm out. Stop lying to people, Sabir Bey.
Wow. Chief X, you made some bold claims at the beginning of this video. I didn't want to believe you, but I now believe you. I heard what the brother Sabir Bey said to that man he was talking to. The information he gave that man and then walked off all proud was false information. This Moorish chief clearly does not have on a fez. But you know what? You was looking at the description of that painting, so now I'm going to see if you just pulled up some nonsense or if you pulled up the real deal. Okay. Seems right. Oil painting. So far, what you pulled up was correct. Dates match. Sabir, if you happen to see this video, you know very well that this is a fez. This man in this painting does not have on a fez. You know that. I know that. Chief X knows that. I just hope that brother that you were quote unquote teaching really miseducated knows that. Okay, Moorish chief. Everything is adding up. Chief X, you pulled the right information. Edward Claremont used studio props and a paid model to invoke a world, luxury, and power, and an architectural setting that resembles the Islamic palace, the Alhambra. Resembles the Alhambra. Yes. It wasn't actually done in the Alhambra. Architecture that resembled the Alhambra, Granada, Spain. The canvas was once called the Alhambra Guard, which you showed. Chief X, you made some bold claims at the beginning of your video. Like I said, I didn't want to believe what you were saying, but you were in fact correct. Sabir Bey was over there in Spain miseducating people. And now I can say on purpose, like you said, because this fez hat that he himself wears, he knows very well that this man in this picture does not have on a fez. How could you mistake this for a fez? There's no mistaking that for a fez. Sabir Bey, the traveling Moor, you wear this fez. You wear it. You're proud of it. You know that this man in this picture don't have on no fez hat. How dare you? How dare you miseducate people like that and then run around all the time, all high and mighty, like you can't be taught. Like you know everything. You're out here miseducating people. I just heard it. Chief X exposed it, and I just heard it. Sabir Bey, you are not out here uplifting fallen humanity. If you're out here miseducating people on a regular, which I don't know if that's what you're doing or not, but from the video that I just saw, you clearly miseducated that man. So if you're out here doing that on a regular, you are not uplifting fallen humanity.